second Pink Tea Talk. So I'm excited to be here. I'm Auntie Mia, coming with you live today, and I am sitting with my aunt, my friend, and my sister national, Nancy Bonner, and I'm excited. You know, you see that we're twins. You see our dimples. We're
same
twins.
hair,
same everything. I know y'all are thinking, who is who? So I'm Mia, and this is Nancy, just so you know. But Nancy was the number one director in the state of Georgia for 5 years. Number one, 5 years. 15 pink Cadillacs, $5 million in commissions paid from Mary Kay. That number 5 is big. It's in some of those accolades. 10 top director trips, 19 national sales director trips. But more importantly, she's magnificent in family and in heart and in guts and in just spunk, I like to say. Whenever I'm with Nancy, we have a strong conversation of opinions. And I like that. And she enjoys spilling the tea. So this is a great segue into our next Pink Tea Talk. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming all the way to Fayetteville, Georgia.
Let me tell you, this was a beautiful ride. It's a crispy day. I can see through the leaves and everything. I noticed that the land just is there for you in Fayetteville.
And did you see the cows?
I saw
all
that. Yeah, we saw the cows and we passed that. But she has a beautiful home, and right now there are 2 pink Escalades sitting outside her driveway. And when she opened the door, she was just in this fluffy, furry, beautiful. And she's saying, "Come on in, come on in." It feels so good, and I'm so happy to be here. So thank you,
Mia. I just want to tell you, I love you so much.
Thank you.
And so proud of you.
Thank you.
And have watched you since you were a child. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And just what a wonderful mom you are, and a wonderful businesswoman, and also a wonderful daughter.
Thank you.
Your mom is very blessed to have
she
you.
agree with that.
Yes, she would. We've had many talks about you,
okay.
how wonderful you are, and also your new hubby.
Yes.
I'm just so excited and happy for
Thank
you
you
about that. So
Thank you.
y'all have so many great years ahead of you with Mary Kay. Tell them how many more trips you have with Mary Kay.
So far I've taken 7. This is actually I'm going to my 8th year as a national, and if I do the math, I have 20 trips later, 20 more, because of the 3 that you get at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe 21, something like that. So
wow,
I'm excited. We're about to head to a Mediterranean cruise,
which is fabulous.
Flying into Monaco, Monte Carlo, and then cruising down to Barcelona. I'm excited about the ports of call, and it's just going to be fabulous.
Well,
so
you deserve it.
And you helped paint that vision for me in my career. We were Pearl Girls.
Yeah. Still
are.
Yeah.
Pearl Girls till it's over.
Right.
And I was lucky to be able to be with you in not only the Ruby Lee National area, but also in the Pearl Seminar. So we have a kinship there.
Right.
I believe that you don't get unless you're in the same seminar, and you get to go to leaderships together. Mm-hmm. So I remember when you were number 1, and also career conference. And so Georgia is just very fertile with top people in Mary Kay. But after Mom, you were just next.
Thank you.
Nobody would have been next. Okay, so let me ask you something. I want you to share with me a tough time that you experienced in Mary Kay. And valleys are different depending on the peak. Mm-hmm. So I always say that sometimes the higher you go, the lower the valley, but there's still tough times.
Right.
So spill some tea for a tough time, how you handled it, and how you used it to take your business back.
Right. Well, first of all, I want to thank Mia for my beautiful cup. I love it. And we're drinking lemon zinger. Yeah. We need a little zing in us this morning.
It's so warm and
good.
good.
So I've thought about that, and we all have life happen, and so I figured I'm not going to go into all the things that happen to everybody.
Yeah.
But probably what hasn't happened to everyone. When I came into Mary Kay, our number 1 son was 2 years old. We then, 2.5 years later, had our second son, and then we had our third son the month that I started DIQ. So when I became a director at the beginning, we just squeaked into the position, and I squeaked in with a brand new baby and a 2.5-year-old and a 4-year-old. Well, not too long after that, my husband took a job in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And it was a great opportunity for him, but I wasn't excited about it because what I knew was Atlanta. What I knew was my family, my customers, my unit members. Even though there weren't that many, I still felt, that's where I needed to be. Well, after a lot of prayer and after the fact of thinking, yeah, that's going to be great. He goes to Chattanooga and I'm left here with these 3 kids. 3 boys. Like, no, Chattanooga sounds like a great place, great opportunity. So we moved, and before we moved, I made contact with my former high school teacher, Ruth Theodosian, and gave her, finally, after 3 appointments that she canceled, and even the last appointment she canceled, she sent me a postcard to cancel it. That's how bad it was. And so, thank goodness her husband said, I think that if you don't go ahead and get with her, she's going to keep calling you till you do. So she came and had a facial, and what impressed her about the facial, and I didn't know this until later, is that I was doing the facial. I had invited other people, kind of created my own party, had it at my home, and I had Josh on my hip the whole time. And she had 2 children at home, and she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, did not want to go back to teaching. And so that impressed her that I could be making money with a baby on my hip. Now, I don't advise that for everybody, but I was in my own home and so forth. So anyway, fast forward, finally, convinced her to try Mary Kay, and so she signed up. And what I think is great is when you bring somebody into the business that is smarter than you and has a real need and really has a work ethic, and boy, she had all of that. And so she kept me on my toes, and
very good.
Boy, I wanted to be better because I'm like, I'm supposed to set the example for her.
Sure.
And so anyway, she was doing great things and went into DIQ, and we moved to Chattanooga. So she's here, she's in Smyrna, I'm in Chattanooga, she's in DIQ. Well, I helped her, of course, but she caught on, she knew what to do, she took responsibility. And so I'm in Chattanooga, and I'm just having a great time applauding Ruth to directorship. But in the meantime, I really wasn't doing the work that I needed to be doing. And so she debuted as a director, and I ended up, when I got my reports, guess how many people I had left in my unit?
Less than 10?
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13.
Which is a lucky number in Mary Kay.
Is, right.
Well, out of those 13, probably, at least 3 of them were on their way out, and 3 of them didn't know what was happening, and maybe 2 or 3 were actually doing something, because that's how it is, a third. So instead of getting a paycheck that month, I owed the company money because I had more people return product than I had buy product. So I just about wrecked the car when I got the mail. And back then, you did not have a computer system and all that, so you didn't know what was happening until you got your report in the mail or your check in the mail.
My goodness. And
so I remember calling Bob Fry, who was the branch manager at the Southern Division, and I was hysterical. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, what's the matter?" And he's like, "I'm like, if you worked all month and thought you were getting a paycheck and then you didn't get any money and you owe the company money." I mean, I was going crazy, Oh, I was also at a payphone, by the way. We did not have cell phones, And so he's like, "Well, do you need some money?" He was going to loan me money.
Loan you the money to get back
that
to
just
them.
shows you the Mary Kay Go Give spirit is alive and well, even at with the staff. So anyway, to make a long story short, I had a decision to make, and that was, okay, do I just say, well, you know what? God doesn't want me to do this. You know how people will say that when they're not doing the work. Or do I need to get a new attitude and get out there and make something happen?
In Chattanooga.
In Chattanooga.
In a place,
Yeah.
With 3 kids.
And see, Bill was traveling, and he would come home, and I would say, well, I'm going to go to Atlanta and do so-and-so. I'm going to Atlanta and do this. And finally he said, you know, there are a lot. I've seen a lot of women around here
Right.
that could use a Mary Kay facial. He said you should ask some of them.
Right.
So I won't go into how that all happened because this isn't really a how-to thing.
Right.
But the main thing that changed was my attitude.
Wow.
Because I thought I was really working. But then I realized, no, I was thinking about it a lot, but I wasn't really doing it. I was expecting, I was expecting my unit to do it, and they didn't have any reason to do it. They didn't want it as bad as I did. So I went out and found 5 new people. And so we went from 13 people to me changing my attitude, going out and doing the work, sharing the opportunity, to that next year, next year in Mary Kay, we earned our first pink Cadillac, and we did the $300,000 club.
And that's big, because that was
huge.
Way up
It's
the
huge.
level of
Yes.
unit circles.
And we also had our 4th son. So,
so a lot of growth.
There was a lot of growth. That's right. And what was so funny about that is the first 8 years that I was in Mary Kay, I had 3 children because I had 1 when I started. And so every time I would go to a career conference or seminar, Mary Kay, I would get to see Mary Kay, and it seemed like I was always pregnant. And she was, and when I went to the last class that turned me over to, I've got to become a director.
Okay.
I went to the last future director class. Mary Kay stood outside the door of the class. She taught the class, then she'd go to the door and she would shake your hand. And so she's like, I think you've been here before. And I'm like, oh dear Lord, she knows who I am, which she probably didn't even know. But anyway, and she looked at me pregnant. And that was my 3rd time. And she said, now that's not the kind of production I'm talking about.
Oh my.
So.
Wasn't she awesome?
She really was. And she was really witty. She was really funny.
Fast.
Yeah.
With the wit.
Yeah. So, anyway, I remember, Mia, the day that I got my first $5,000 check, I thought, oh my gosh, if I really got organized and really worked this, no telling what I could do.
She said her first 5,000, so that means there were plenty more.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, if you multiply the 5,000 by 1,000, I guess you get the 5 million. So all in all,
well,
you had about
my
1,000 of them.
Yeah, my highest check for 1 month, it was over 30,000.
Woo!
And of course, I know people are making so much more than that now.
That's good now and then.
But you know what?
Oh my gosh!
When we started, we had 1 skincare box, and we had 5 lipsticks and 5 eyeshadows and an eyebrow pencil and a mascara. And so to earn the money that we did in the beginning.
What would it be?
The price point, if they bought the whole box, it was like $36.50.
Right.
If they bought the basic skincare, I think when I started, it was $18.50.
Oh my gosh!
Now day radiance was $2. Eyebrow pencil was $1, and it was about this long. It lasted their lifetime.
That's right. Now it
and Rouge was $1.50, and it lasted them a lifetime.
Right.
Yeah. So. It's hard. You can't compare apples to apples now.
That's true.
And you had asked me about the difference between working Mary Kay now compared to then. And, of course, there are many differences. One thing that has remained the same, we have always had an excellent product.
Wow.
And so
I love the product.
Our products have always been excellent.
Yes.
We were ahead of our time because we were actually teaching people how to take care of their skin when everybody else was teaching them how to put mascara on and how to do their eyebrows, And so we were teaching people how to take care of their skin. And we were teaching them face-to-face at their table, getting to touch them, getting to pet on them, and connecting with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you didn't have to say, this is Nancy Bonner, your Mary Kay beauty consultant. All you had to do was say, hi, it's Nancy. And they'd be like, oh, she's my consultant. She's my Mary Kay consultant. I just had a lady call me day before yesterday that I had not heard from in a long time. She was a former customer.
Okay.
And she called, and we just started talking. and we talked for about 10 or 15 minutes just about her, what's going on with her, so forth and so on. I found out now she's 81.
Okay.
And she was wanting some Mary Kay
That's
products, but I mean, I haven't heard from her in forever. And of course, I've been retired for 5 years. Can you believe that?
No,
5 years
no.
5 years this month. And so I just thought, though, it was just like I had seen her yesterday because we had a relationship.
That's right.
So anyway, so building that relationship, and back then nobody really knew Mary. They didn't know what Mary Kay was. And we had those Mary Kay pins that were in script, and really and truly in the South, I don't know what they thought in the North, but in the South they thought that was your name. Mary Kay. You just had your little name written on your pin.
It was a tag for the company. Yeah.
And so and it would be the Mary Kay Who.
Mm-hmm.
So what we had to do is we had to convince people that we had something they needed to try, at least try, even though they'd never heard of it, even though it was never in a magazine, it was never on TV. But Mary Kay said the best way to spread the news is to tell a woman, and then she'll tell another woman, and it'll go from there.
Right.
Okay, fast forward to today. If I were starting today, I would do the exact same thing. I would want to get with you face to face.
Yeah.
I would want to get to know you. I would want to know the color of your carpet. I would want to know your family.
Right.
So that, and you would take my phone call. You wouldn't see my number and not answer it.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't have to always text you because you would know me.
Yeah.
And you would want to hear from me.
That's right. The Mary Kay lady. And everyone needs that in their life. I just call it the Mary Kay lady. Do you have a Mary Kay lady? You gotta have a Mary Kay lady.
I'm still called the Mary Kay. I mean, I go to the tennis court and the lady that organizes the group, she always introduces me as, this is the Mary Kay lady.
That's right.
Like
you're gonna be
exactly, for the rest of my life. And I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful.
I want to do that. Mm-hmm.
I think that what's missing today is, because we have so much technology, which is great, because we couldn't be doing this if we didn't. That's great.
Right.
However, you cannot replace the personal touch.
No.
Now, what other cosmetic company? I know we have a lot more competition.
Sure.
Right. But what other cosmetic company is out there that will come to your home and sit down with you and show you how to take care of your skin?
With the best product.
I don't know
With the best product.
Yeah, I don't know of anybody.
I'm gonna let the baby in.
Yeah, she can come in.
Okay,
Yeah.
come on, sweetie.
Zoe has to come in.
Come on, Zoe.
She thinks that if I'm in here, she's supposed to be in here. But I think if anything is missing, that's it. That you have been sold a bill of goods that women don't want to get together anymore, that women don't want to talk to each other.
I know it.
But
people
that's not
in
true.
general don't.
I mean, look, we're having a great time talking.
Right. And like once you get there, I've noticed if there's something that or in a social event that I'm not looking forward to, once I'm there, I love it. I just love it once I'm there, And so people, when they're shying away from being social, I think we're becoming more of an anti-social society.
Exactly.
And because we can do so much at home now, even shop.
Yeah.
So
somebody was telling me about how they go to, now they get their groceries online, and go and pick it up, and I'm thinking, in their pajamas, and I'm thinking, why would I want to get on my computer, order my groceries, put on my pajamas, and then go pick them up?
Right.
When I could go in and interact with people.
Yeah.
And see for myself, and pick up the box and look at it, and read it, and see what's on sale, and anyway. But as you can tell, I'm a very people-oriented.
Yes.
But you were talking about going into situations where you don't know anybody, and you might feel a little bit uneasy.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were blessed to get to go to watch Josh be installed, whatever you call it, as a state representative for the second time.
Wow.
And then we got to go to the governor's installation.
Inauguration.
Yes. And
wow.
In every situation, I met somebody, like in sitting down next to a stranger to watch whatever. I met other ladies, and we just had the best time because guess what? I took an interest in them.
Sure.
I wasn't worried about me and, well, what am I looking like, and whatever the situation, I would just start asking them questions about them, and I just got to know that the last lady I sat next to, she was like, oh my gosh, she's like, now this was just us sitting there watching the inauguration.
Right.
She said, oh my gosh, I just enjoyed meeting you so much. She said, you are just full of joy.
Wow.
And I said, well, you know what? That is my, joy is my word for the year.
Is it?
Yeah. And she goes, oh my gosh, I have a word for the year too.
Okay.
And it's hope.
Oh,
and I'm
my
like,
gosh.
you know, and that just gave me chills. But anyway, but I thought, now if I was in Mary Kay.
Right, you would be my next director.
You would be my next director, you know. But I mean, it was like, she made my day and I helped make her day. And I found out her husband's name and I said, you pray for my son Josh and I'll pray for your husband John.
Okay, Josh and John.
And she goes, I can remember Josh because she knows, you know, she had a connection with that name. And I said, well, I can remember John because we've got 2 Johns.
That's right.
In our family. So anyway, okay. So I would say get out of your house. Get off your phone.
Oh my gosh.
Go out and meet people face to face. And, you know, you don't have to go attack people because Mary Kay taught us that you attract people to you. And how you attract people to you is, first of all, you want to look the part.
There we go.
And I think that if you're talking about a difference in today and back then you dressed for your position. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you had come to my house, no matter what time of the morning or night, I would have had on a dress or a suit and would have probably still had my high heels on. Now, I know times change, but guess what? If Mia and I went to lunch today in Fayetteville, do you know that they would almost be rolling out the red carpet? I'm not kidding you.
For you?
But just because of how we're dressed.
Okay.
They would be rolling out the red carpet.
Yeah.
And they would be in awe. Because when you look around, we would be the only people dressed like this.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know, there's 2 ways to leave your house with your family. When you're dressed up, they're either going to say, where are you going today? And that would let you know that you don't dress up enough and that you don't have your face on enough. But if you don't have your face on, and they say, what's wrong? Then you know that they're used to you looking a certain way. So your family will dictate to you whether you're doing it the right way, the Mary Kay way. And I was always told to leave your house prepared.
Well, we were always told when you went out to do your Mary Kay business, to pretend Mary Kay was on your doorstep.
Oh, Lord. I need
and
to go back home.
And we had some funny stories about, you know, a few times Mary Kay made appearances at some of the distribution centers.
Yeah.
And how some people, I don't know if you remember those, how some people
would show up.
Well, they would show up not looking like a Mary Kay person.
Oh, at the distribution center?
Yes, bringing their orders in.
Oh, my gosh.
So, and, you know, if you're driving a Mary Kay car with a sticker on it, or if you're, of course, if we're in our pink cars, we have to live up to that expectation, which is fine. You know, some people say, well, I don't want to have to dress up. Well, if you work for Delta Airlines, you'd have to wear a uniform. You might not like the new one, the purple. If you work for any other company, you're going to wear whatever they tell you to wear.
I like to say that my face is my uniform. It's a uniform. When I take it off, I take it off.
Yeah.
My suit is my uniform. It is. It's a uniform.
Yeah.
So whether you're a red jacket, or star team builder, or director, or national, what you wear is your uniform for your business. And so when you leave the house, the least part of your uniform is your face. That's where it starts. It starts with the hair.
Well, and
you were a hairstylist.
Yeah, I was a hairstylist.
Proud of Mary Kay.
And here's the other thing is that if you get up and put your makeup on, then you have to fix your hair. And if you fix your hair and your makeup, you can't sit around looking at, you know, here you are in your, you know, from the neck up, you're looking great. You have to get dressed.
Right. It makes you.
I mean, when people tell me I didn't get dressed all day, I'm like, were you sick? I mean, I just can't visualize somebody not wanting to get dressed.
So I have a question for you. So, working with a difficult leader in your organization, and how were you able to, how did it help you become a better leader?
Well, when you say difficult leader, probably when I thought back on that, probably what the situations were, was they weren't like me.
Okay.
They weren't my personality.
Yeah.
And so
that's
it was
tough.
hard. It was hard for me to understand
Yeah.
why they wouldn't be like me.
Dog. Let's just tell the truth. Let's just tell the truth. Be more like me.
Yeah. Like,
wow.
like I don't get it. Why can you not
huge.
want to be a director, or why can you not want to
oh my
to look a certain way, or you know? In other words, I was imposing my you know, who I am on somebody else.
Oh my God.
Instead of looking at them and thinking, okay, what are their strengths?
Yeah.
What is it, you know, Mia, tell me, what is it that you want from Mary Kay? What can I help, how can I help you get what you want? You don't have to be like me. You don't have to do it the way I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing that I would ask is that you may not even like me. Seriously, you may not even like me. But all I ask is, if you want to move up in Mary Kay, or if you want to be successful in Mary Kay, respect the fact that I've already done what it is you're trying to do, and I can help you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can take the information and do whatever, put it into your personality, the way you like to do things. You don't have to be me. As a matter of fact, you won't be able to be me, right? Because this, you know, having one me is plenty.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, that's good enough.
But whatever I have done to offend you or upset you or give you the wrong impression that I'm not interested in, that I want you to be a certain way or do a certain thing, forgive me for that.
Mm.
Because what I want to do is to help you get whatever it is you want from Mary Kay.
Not what I want you to have.
Exactly.
That's tough to navigate in this business. We so want it, don't we? Oh my gosh, do we want it for you? We want it for you so badly.
But, you know, it's just like if someone in your family, is extremely overweight, and you can, and they keep saying they want to lose weight, they want to be healthy, whatever. And then, if you tell me something, just like when you told me, when I knew you wanted to become a national sales director, how my brain thinks is, it's a done deal. It's just a matter of going through the process. And so I already start picturing you as a national sales director. You and your mom, the mother, daughter, that whole thing. And so I'm convinced of it.
Right.
But then if you're not doing the activity that it takes, then I'm thinking, okay, if that's what you really want, this is where you got to start, and this is what you need to be doing. And if you come to me and say, well, Nancy, what do I need to do, and blah, 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 blah. Or I want to be this, or I want to be that. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, she wants to do that. Here's how you do it. Here you go. And so I'm thinking it's a done deal.
Right.
But you take the information and you go home and you keep doing the same thing.
Right.
Then that frustrates me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm already seeing you in the position you said you wanted.
Right.
And so then I have to come back to you and say, did you tell me that you want to do that because you thought that's what I wanted you to do?
Yeah.
Or do you really want to do it? And if you really want to do it, can you tell me what is it that is holding you back from doing that? Or what do you really want?
Right.
Don't tell me what you think I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's just be honest with one another.
That's tough. I think people give us what they want us to hear. I think our kids do it. I think our consultants and directors.
Well, sometimes people also
they don't want to
like
disappoint us.
Well, they also like the chase, so to speak. They like the fact that they're almost getting more attention because they're not doing it.
How about that?
You know.
How about that?
Yeah. And here's the other thing you have to keep remembering. We lead a volunteer army.
That's true.
And so
independent.
If they're getting out of it what they want, I'm happy.
That's right.
Everybody's just not going to want to move up the career path. And
there has to be a role for everyone.
Right.
You know,
and they can still be a winner.
Sure.
If they're doing, if they just
what
say, I want to sell $50 every week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, when you start doing that every week, you're a winner.
You have met your goal.
Exactly. So not everybody wants to dream big and do all the things that you and I have learned to love to do.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing. I would go through every disappointment, every difficult leader, every difficult consultant, everything.
Well,
again.
see, and also you can turn that around to say that maybe I was the difficult leader.
No way.
Maybe I was the difficult, in other words, maybe I did something that made it a difficult situation because it was all about me.
Conflict does start.
It was all about me.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing about my word for the year, joy. It stands for Jesus, others, and you. And so it can no longer, as a leader, it can no longer be about us. It's got to be about others
and you.
Mm-hmm.
So we count it all joy.
Mm-hmm. Because
awesome.
we have the opportunity to lift people up.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that because of our ego or because of a disappointment we have, if they don't walk away from us feeling better than they did when they met us, we haven't done our job.
Okay. That's deep. I'm in national training. I am in national training right now. I'm telling you. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times how people respond to us or might respond to you, even at the consultant level of inviting somebody to the meeting or inviting someone to have a Mary Kay facial or whatever, a lot of times their response is not based on who we are or what we've asked them or whatever. It could be of what just happened to them an hour ago.
Sure.
It could be what happened to them that morning.
Yeah. Not saying no to you. They're saying no to something else.
If I'm in line at the grocery store and the cashier is not even saying, she's not even acknowledging I'm there. She's talking to the other person, all that. Instead of getting in a huff and acting like, well, does she not know who I am? That kind of thing. Then I try to find something I can say nice to her. Yeah. Even in some cases I've said, Are you having a bad day? Mm-hmm. But and most of the time, however people are responding is because of something that has just happened to them or something they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so it's really not about me. It's not about you.
I love that, and I love the way that when I posed the question of how you worked and dealt with a difficult leader in your organization, you said I was the one who was probably difficult.
Mm-hmm. I was imposing my views
awesome.
And what I wanted and what I thought.
That is the best thing for me.
Obviously, if somebody is doing something to disrupt the organization, then the best thing to do is to pray them out.
Okay, now I need that prayer, that scripture, that verse. Prayer, script. I need the verse. Which Bible
if
was
iron's
it?
not sharpening iron,
Girl, pray them out.
Yeah.
Oh!
Either pray God will change the situation or, either he'll remove them or change me and how I'm viewing them.
Mm-hmm. That does, perspective does make a difference.
Yeah.
Mary Kay seems to have its own filtering system. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
It has, it filters, it just does that.
It just works its way out.
I've got another question for you. So, you started your business. You're an Atlanta native, is that right? Turner High.
Brown High School.
Brown High, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Brown.
Mm-hmm.
The other one.
Yeah.
And, so this is Atlanta. It's the Deep South. And I just know who you've been your whole life. I know who you've been your whole life. And I just want to know how you feel like you were able to navigate your Mary Kay business living in Atlanta during some times of turmoil and that kind of thing. And now here I sit at your home and I would have always been welcome, and I know that. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that. Tell me about you.
Well, you know what's so funny is that Bill and I have talked about this before, how we will watch a program of something that was going on in the 60s or the 70s or whatever, and we'd be like, where were we when that was happening? Like that. I guess it wasn't how my family was and how we grew up, and we were just so busy trying to get our life together and make a living and raise a family, and we were just so involved with what we were involved with there's a lot of turmoil that I look at and I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I doing when that was happening?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it wasn't happening to me.
That's
it wasn't
right.
happening around me.
Okay.
And so really, I mean, maybe I had a sheltered life or something. Maybe I just didn't have a bigger horizon. But you know,
but when you're a certain age, it's them and it's me. You know what I mean? Usually, when you're a certain age, it's really only recently. Maybe kids are more conscious now socially, maybe. But like you said, without social media, maybe you weren't even aware half of the time.
Well, and you didn't have news 24/7.
24/7.
Because the news was happening in your own home.
That's right. That's
you had enough news to keep
up
up with.
News was right. Right.
I mean, and your neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know, and when your kids were in school and all the things that we really have enough to take care of.
Sure.
Without. Oh, I want to see what Mia's doing.
Right.
I want to see what so-and-so's doing. Oh, I'm not doing what she's doing. That means I'm not doing something right. Mm-hmm. Or I need to be doing more of that. Or, I mean, craziness.
Right.
You know, and I feel so bad for my grandkids. Because they're, you know, I don't see them have the same fun. Like, we just had so much fun growing up.
Yeah.
You know, we had a neighborhood. We played. I mean, all my playmates were guys.
Yeah.
Which was fine.
And then you had all
and
boys.
You know, yeah. I mean, we rode bikes. We climbed trees. We caught tadpoles. I mean,
yeah. We
just had a good time.
Sure.
In school, I loved school.
Yeah.
I loved, you know, but here again, I love everything.
Yeah, you do. You do. And you take to whatever you get involved in, you take to it. You take to it.
But,
you know what I mean?
You know, I guess you just didn't have all of this information to bog you down.
Right.
And, you know, they say you can go a whole week without turning your TV on and turn it on, and you haven't missed anything. Because it's the same thing.
Wow.
Over and over and over.
Wow, it is.
And so, you know, if we would all start taking care of our own business and taking care of our own household, right. And, you know, just go back to being neighbors.
Yeah.
Go back to caring about people and get off our devices. And it's like my grandkids, you know, they don't really, I mean, they're great and wonderful, but I think everybody spends too much time, you know, interacting with people from a distance. Sure. When they could be together. Mm-hmm. And so I like being together. That's why I work really hard on getting our family together. Yeah. Everything that Bill and I do, it is about our family.
That's awesome.
And so
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
And so, your friends.
And our friends, yeah.
You're a good friend.
And we have to be intentional about that.
Yeah, so you have to really be on purpose. Yeah. To see others and to spend time with them and make it quality. And you know,
Mary Kay was a great part of my life and still is, but you need to have
an outlet.
Other people. You need to have other people, other friends, people that aren't all Mary Kay. Right. You need to have really close friends. Mm-hmm. You need to have prayer partners. Yeah. Your husband, see, Mary Kay fulfilled all these things for me as far as relationships. Right. But what about Bill had a job, you know, mm-hmm. and he was still doing the same thing he was doing. Right. And so he said, you know, I want us to build relationships with people. Aww. And so that's what we started doing. And, you know, through our church, through our neighbors, through people we went to reconnecting with people we went to high school with, mm-hmm. all those things. And we're the ones who make the phone call to say, Mia, why don't you and your husband, and how about y'all, when could we get together? Let's get together.
And really mean it.
And really mean it. Yeah. Yeah. Now, if I'm waiting around on the other couple to call us, it ain't going to happen. Mm-hmm. But we're the ones that are being intentional.
Keep the connection.
Right. So
keep the connection.
And I just think that, you know, that just helps you to be a well-rounded person.
I agree. Well-rounded, because I think the more you focus on success, the more you are only with Mary Kay. Mm-hmm. And there aren't very many outlets. I've noticed that in a lot of women who are very successful in this business. And to an extent, that's we're so multifaceted in this company that you could literally have only Mary Kay friends, but you've got they're from so many different areas. But
Right.
I do believe that there should be some friends of yours who are not in the business with
Right.
you.
Right.
Because sometimes you just have to talk not Mary Kay. You know,
Right.
whenever I'm with a Mary Kay friend, we're always gonna gravitate to Mary Kay.
Well, sure.
Always.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
talk business. We're gonna talk shop.
Right. Exactly.
But you get to not talk shop. But the things we get to do, we get to dress up, we get to have our hair done, we get to be fancy, you know, we get to connect, and that's
well,
the beauty
and
of
you know,
it.
the other thing too is that we get to help a lot of people.
Yes, we get to help,
And
we
you
get
know,
to be examples.
when
for
I
so
see,
many.
you know, when I look at my directors as an example, and I see, and not that any of them it wasn't they had terrible lives or whatever, but to see how being in Mary Kay enriched their life,
Yeah.
and to see where they are now as a result of all their efforts, and I just don't think if they had gone the corporate route, they would have what they have.
It's true.
And
Not just physical things,
Right.
but material things, but what
Right.
they have here,
right,
here.
and the sphere of influence
Sure.
that they have. You know, that to me is the biggie.
The biggie.
Is just to look back and think, okay, well, how many people did I encourage this week?
That's good.
You know,
As opposed to what?
who didn't do what I thought they should do? You know. And see, I think raising 4 sons and with a husband that traveled, I had to
Keep
become
your bow on.
I had to become a drill sergeant.
Yes.
And so when Bill would come home, he would say, "You need to take that sergeant hat off," you know, because then I wanted to do the drill sergeant for him, you know. And so
Okay.
I think that too we have to learn, you know, you wear a lot of different hats, and you need to learn when to take one of them off.
That's good.
Just like Mary Kay said, that she was the chairman of the board during the day.
Okay.
She came home, she took her chairman of the board suit off, and she put her apron on,
Yes.
and she put her Mel's wife
Yes.
apron on,
Okay.
and she became Mel's wife.
Yeah.
And she didn't, you know, talk about Mary Kay all that time.
I'm still learning that. I'm still needing to learn that.
And then the other thing you need to learn is when you're talking to family, friends, your spouse, whoever, you don't tell them all the things that didn't. You don't come home and tell them all the people that disappointed you, all the people that didn't do what they said they were going to do, the people who postponed, the people who didn't show up. That's part of it. That's part of the whole process.
Right.
I mean, I can remember driving 2 hours to do a Mary Kay. It was going to be a big party. And I told her, I said, I'll even bring the refreshments. So I had all this stuff in the car, drive 2 hours to get there. And it ended up being me and her.
Okay. Okay.
So then I drove my 2 hours back.
Yeah.
And the next morning, Bill said, well, how'd it go last night? And I said, you know what? Everybody that was there had a great time. Which was the truth.
You and her.
But if I had said, well, you know what?
Yeah.
I drove 2 hours.
Right.
I had refreshments, blah, 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 blah. What good would that have done?
Right.
Because your
Really
husband wants to
helpful.
protect you. So
Sure.
he would have said, well, I don't know why you're putting yourself through that.
Right. Right.
or he would try to do something to try to fix it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that's just part of the process. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
And so I learned to be a better coach. I learned to be, you know, a little more reasonable about the things that I would promise I would go and do.
Right.
And so, you know, you're going to have to work through those things, but just don't tell everybody all the stuff behind the scenes, because you wouldn't want, when Michael was a police officer, you wouldn't want him coming home every day telling you about all the bad people.
Yeah, I don't even question.
Right.
Yeah.
And if he's like most men, they don't want to talk about it anyway.
Okay.
You know, Bill has his own company, and he'll go and do something and come back, and I said, well, so how did lunch go? It was fine. Oh, well, what did so and so say? Well, you know, and finally he'll say, Nancy, I don't want to talk about that now.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about something else.
Right.
What have you been doing? You know. But you know, he enjoyed talking about Mary Kay because he loved the people.
Sure. I can
And he was interested in the people.
I could see it.
You know, just like you. He's like, and so how is Mia doing?
Yeah.
And I mean, and he's
means it.
sincere.
Sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't be just like, oh, well, how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, no, well, how's Mia doing?
Aww.
And so anyway, I'm just blessed beyond belief.
So you're having something coming up. Is it still open? Is it still available?
Well, today is I think today she had to either let rooms go or whatever, but it's a mountain retreat up at Helen, Georgia.
Okay.
And there's a director's meeting on Friday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
the
from
first of
4.
February.
I think it's 3 to 5 or something like that on February 1st.
Okay.
That night is kind of a vision casting night.
Yeah.
Then Saturday, where the goal is the theme is Destination Red.
I know that's right.
Yeah, and
Ships ahoy.
yeah, exactly. And we don't mean Chips Ahoy.
No, we
either.
don't.
We mean Ships Ahoy.
Ships ahoy.
Right. And so there's going to be a lot of just Mary Kay talk, like what we're doing right now.
Right.
It's not going to be so much a how to book, sell, recruit.
Okay.
But more Mary Kay stories and why the whys that people have, and working through the self-doubts and the I'm not good enough and I'm not like her, or, all those crazy things.
Okay.
That women tell themselves that men don't.
Yes, we do. Because I'm sitting here saying, there's no way I can get my hair looking like you. And when I saw your home and the way it was decorated, I immediately said, okay, I'm going home and I'm doing something better. Something. I don't know what. Immediately. I've already compared myself out of Fayetteville and back to Tequila so I can get to decorating.
That is so funny.
I
That
mean
is
it.
so true.
Yes. I mean it. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, yes. And I'm thinking, I'm going to take some pictures. Oh my gosh.
Well, you hadn't even seen all of it yet.
I haven't seen it all yet. I know it. Oh my God, there's more.
Well,
And the dogs come in and they're groomed perfectly. I mean, just
and she wants to
that's
be
what y'all been hearing in the
involved.
background.
Yes,
Our
Zoe.
baby Zoe's been photobombing.
Well,
our,
what she wants is
she wants
food.
Can
That's
she eat a
her.
muffin?
Well, she could eat a little muffin, yeah. Not a grape, but she is. Although she is a fruit eater, but she'll eat anything.
Let me get you this tumping. It's okay. Yes.
She's like, oh boy.
Yes,
Found a new
banana
friend.
nut.
Yeah.
Banana nut, baby.
Well, and I want to tell everybody this too, that
the camera.
Bill and I met the summer before the 10th grade, and we grew up we were in Cascade Heights area, and our families didn't take vacations and things like that. I think his family might have gone once a year to Panama City.
Okay.
But my parents, any vacation that my dad had, or my mom and dad had, we went to a relative's home.
That's right.
Waycross, Albany, Valdosta, And so I always wondered why we never went and stayed at a hotel or even a motel,
Sure.
Or ever went to Florida or anything like that. Well, we didn't have the money to do that. And so we always went and stayed with visited a relative. That was the vacation.
Sure.
So when we earned our first top director trip, well, it ended up being to the Virgin Islands, which I'd never been to the Virgin Islands, obviously.
Me either.
Which was fabulous. But I remember going back to our little bungalow that we had after talking to all the other top directors, like Sue Kirkpatrick, Kathy Rasmussen,
Listen
all
to
these
those names.
heavy hitters,
Yes.
And how they talked about their assistant, their newsletters, their copy machine.
Yeah.
I mean, all
In
this.
their office.
Yeah, their office, And I went back and I just started having a come apart. And Bill's like, what is the matter with you? And I said, I don't know how in the world I earned this trip.
Right.
He goes, what do you mean? I said, I don't have a copy machine. I don't have an assistant.
Right.
I don't even have an office, my kitchen table,
Yeah,
wherever
all
I'm
over the
standing
place.
at the
That's right.
time, And I'm like, I just feel so undeserving that I don't know how I got here. And he said, well, Nancy, all these people are different.
Yeah.
And he said, that's what's great about being here is learning that all these people are different. And they all got here by doing the work. They just did it differently. And so that year, Sue Kirkpatrick had done 1 million. And this was, you know, a
Yeah,
long
but
time
4
ago.
million was-
Oh, yeah.
4
She
million
had
was
done $1 million.
cool. Yeah.
And so,
wow.
I started talking to her about it. And she said, well, Nancy, the way you have to look at it is that Kirk and I together did the $1 million.
Okay.
And you did the $500,000, which $500,000 was the trip at that time. And so she just made me feel so much better. But also in helping me realize that everybody chooses to do the work however they choose to do it.
Okay.
You know, that some Mary Kay husbands choose to be a Mary Kay husband. Some still want to have a career.
Sure.
And so that however it works, you just figure it out.
Right.
And so then our second trip was to Hong Kong.
Wasn't that Mary? No, that wasn't Mary Kay's favorite. It was Canada. I think.
She loved the Hong Kong trip because Mary Kay was a shopper, but she was a bargain shopper. And
that's where you can get the bargains.
Yeah, and I'll tell you 2 quick stories, and then I don't know how we're doing on our time.
I don't either.
One is she invited a man to come to her room that made shirts, men's shirts. And so he was bringing all these shirts, and you know they were like cheap. And so she invited all the Mary Kay husbands to come to her room.
Mary Kay.
So then the next time she invited a guy that had knockoff watches.
Okay.
And invited all of us to come to her room to buy. So all these watches were all over her bed. Well, I didn't know a Timex from a Rolex.
Right.
I mean, I didn't know any name brand stuff, you know. And so I just watched whatever Mary Kay would pick up and look at, I would pick up, you know. Yeah. Because I didn't have a clue what any of it was.
She had a better eye than you, maybe.
And I think we paid like $10 for them, you know. But that's how Mary Kay liked to shop.
Yeah.
And she didn't like to see her director spend a lot of money. She would get on to you if she thought you were spending too much money because she felt like you needed to be saving that for your family, you know. So that was pretty funny. And then another shopping time, we had gone to Italy, and we took a bus.
We went to Italy.
Yeah, it was a cruise, but then we took a bus to this little town, and it was around lunchtime, and they were all closed. Well, there was one place that was open, and it was a Fendi handbags. Well, everybody was going, oh, it's a Fendi place. I'm like, what is a Fendi place?
Right, what is that?
I had no idea what a Fendi.
What is that?
Yeah, I'm like, what is that? And so, and then, you know, we go in, and I mean, the handbags are like $50, $60, which I thought was outrageous.
Then
they're like, do you know how much these really are? I'm like, no, I have no idea. Anyway, to make a long story short, you know, the Mary Kay bus converged on this one little shop, and people,
they were happy.
We were cleaning them out. Yeah. Because it's like, well, if Mia gets that cup, I guess I need to get one too. Maybe I should get 2 of them. Yeah. You know, and so whatever somebody got, everybody else wanted to get 1 or 2 of those same things. And so the people going up in their attic and getting stuff down, well, then you look around in the town, and I guess people got wind of it. They were all opening up their shops,
you know, that's right.
Like, oh my gosh, these people are serious, you know. So anyway, that was a pretty funny thing, and that was the time that Mary Kay was needing to have her knees replaced, and we were on cobblestone streets, and nobody told her don't wear heels, but she did, and so I have a picture of Ruth and I, and Ruth on one side of Mary Kay and me on the other, kind of helping her walk along, and that's when she took her sunglasses off and had her arm around me like that, and had her sunglass thing right in my ear the whole time. And I've got a picture of it. Bill took a picture of it. And I mean, I just kept my head still because, you know, she's got her sunglasses stuck in my ear. Anyway, it was pretty funny. But
you've got them. Yeah. You've got the stories.
But,
I am telling you. Wow.
But, you know, the blessing for our home is that Bill, because of my success in Mary Kay, because I love it.
Sure.
And it wasn't like work to me. We were able for him to start his own business, which now 2 of our sons have taken over and bought from him. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. And this house, I pay everything for it. Our house, we have a lake house. I pay everything. Oh yeah, I've got a beautiful lake house. Yes. Anyway, I was thinking about that through Mary Kay, I have bought and paid for, not paid them all off, but paid and then paid to live in them, and then sold them and moved on. Anyway, 4 houses that I've paid, the house payment, all the expenses, walked into the bank, signed the papers because of Mary Kay.
Is it in your name?
In my name.
Wow, that's awesome.
I mean, one was the lake house I bought. They never even met me.
Right.
We just called the bank, sent them my information, my 1099s, and did the deal. And I couldn't even tell you who those people look like.
From faces and lipstick.
Yeah.
And belief.
Yeah. And of course, when you think about how much money we've saved our family in car payments.
Sure.
And car insurance.
Those 15 Cadillacs.
Yeah. And that's not
And
just 30 years, because the Escalade, we keep for 3 years.
That's right.
So it's really, since 1980 we didn't have a car payment.
Wow.
So
amazing.
Pretty good muffins. Zoe's loving them.
She sure is. This has been, we have to do tea again. It's been an hour, and I think I'll let everybody go back to lunch. Those of you who are my work
by now.
My work whisperers, and those of you who are sneaking to watch this and watch Auntie Mia and Auntie Nancy, there's going to be some questions that you're going to have, and Auntie Nancy is going to answer your questions right there in the group, right up under this video, so that we can keep everything right here and contained. So don't ask on another post. Keep it right here, your questions, so she can see them right up under there. This has been so real. I've got questions. I'm gonna post my own questions. Okay, please answer mine. This is exactly what I wanted it to be, and what I believe that our audience needed it to be. And I learned more, as always. I learned more and got more out of it than I expected. And I always get more than when I train. I always get more from the audience, but some things you said today, one of the main things I'm taking from this is, when it comes to conflict, look at yourself. Look at yourself first. I needed that. I needed that today. I'm going to just be transparent with that. I needed that today. And I already see some areas where I can change and where I can grow with that. Heading into leadership conference, I'm leaving in a few days, and then I'll be seeing you in April again.
Yeah.
Are you going to come to the mother-daughter event? Maybe?
Not sure.
Not sure yet? Mm-hmm. Okay. But we're here, and I'm expecting a call from you and Bill to say, hey, we want to have lunch with you and Michael.
Yeah. Or
dinner.
Lunch or dinner.
I would love that. I
would really like to get to know Michael.
Okay. He's special.
He reminds me of my youngest son. He reminds me of just a big teddy bear.
Mm-hmm. Y'all have more in common than you think. Y'all have more in common than you think. I said, now, did I marry a black man, or did I not? What is going on here, Michael? I mean, we're listening to country music in the morning. I'm like, what are you doing?
God knew exactly who to put you with, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's got to be a really special guy to be with you, girl.
Yeah, he is. He is special.
Laid back, I'm sure.
He is laid back.
Mm-hmm.
He lets things just roll off of him,
Yeah, and that's what you needed.
And I asked him the other day, and I know this, let me give you a little bit more tea here, really quickly. But I asked him the other day, I said, is there anything that you're kind of holding back and that you haven't said that's maybe bothering you, but you haven't wanted to say it? I was like, you can tell me, because we've been married 3 years now. And he was like, some things you just don't have to say. That's what he said. I mean, I gave him an open opportunity. You know what I mean? And so I took that to say, well, everything's right then. Everything's perfect,
And if it's not, he'll let you know.
He'll let me know. But it was great. He's like, he thought about it for a minute, because he had taken the racks off of the stove and put them over to the side. And I thought, does this mean he wants me to clean underneath the stove? So I was like, if there's something you want, just tell me. He was like, I said, is that, so I thought you had left those off for me, and that was your sign or your signal that you wanted the spaghetti or the sausage cleaned up off of the thing. He's like, no, I was going to do that myself. I just got sleepy. So that's where it came from. But anyway.
See, you think too much.
I do.
When you get old like me, you just don't think that.
Okay. Well, we're signing off. Leave your questions.
We're still partying, but
the party's going to continue. But thank y'all for joining in, PTB. See you next time.